Hey everyone, welcome back to another Tic Tac Taiko. This week is part 2 of my TAIKO-1 accessories review. The original video was almost half an hour long, and even for me, that's a bit much. So I decided to break it up, and this week we're covering the foot pedal and the looper, which are two potentially very powerful tools to use with the TAIKO-1. I hope you enjoy. All right, let's talk about foot pedals. A foot pedal is a really simple device. You have a set of switches on the floor that you step on with your feet because your hands are probably going to be busy playing music. Unfortunately, the TAIKO-1 does not have a lot of foot pedal functionality. What you can do with it is listed clearly in the manual, and these are moving forward or backwards in the sound banks, moving forward or backwards in the Ji-uchi, turning on or off the Ji-uchi, and turning on or off the MFX, which are essentially special effects that you can assign to different sounds in the sound banks. One thing I had hoped I would be able to do would be to take two non-adjacent sound banks, say number 3 and number 7, and switch back and forth between them. You can't do that as a default, but what I'm pretty sure I can do, and I haven't done it yet, is to take two empty sound banks that are adjacent, like 51 and 52. Copy 3 over to one, copy 7 over to the other, and then I'll have the two adjacent sound banks that I can switch back and forth between at will. The foot pedal I have is the Boss Dual Foot Switch FS6. One selling point for me is that the switches are flat. They're easy to step on. Some foot pedals have switches that stick up, and knowing that I was sometimes going to be in bare feet, I didn't want anything that was going to poke into my foot while stepping on it. Getting the FS6 to work is super easy. It runs on a 9 volt, and as soon as you plug in a 1/4 inch cable to any of the inputs, it turns on, regardless of whether or not the TAIKO-1 is on. You have A, you have B, and you have AB. If you have a single unit, like a single TAIKO-1, you plug into AB and the foot pedal is A for up, B for down, just like that. Let's say in the future or even in the present, you have two units you want to plug in. You plug one into A, this becomes on and off. You plug one into B, this becomes on and off. And that's it. The FS6 is the model that's illustrated in the TAIKO-1 manual under foot pedals. I didn't know that when I bought this. It was a happy coincidence. So it's meant to work well with the TAIKO-1. There is one thing I'm not able to do yet. I've seen other systems and other setups with guitars and keyboards plug things wirelessly into a foot pedal. But when I do that with the TAIKO-1, it does not work. So even though I have this really cool wireless system, I still have to use physical 1/4 inch cables to plug in for it to acknowledge that it exists. Maybe in time I'll figure that out. The final piece of equipment today is the looper. A looper does pretty much what the name says. You play some music, it records part of it, and then plays it back as a loop, which you can then play on top of, or record on top of, or do whatever the equipment allows. This is the Boss Loop Station RC3. It's a pretty powerful little machine, and to be honest, I've barely scraped the surface of what it can do. It runs on a 9 volt, which is inside the stepping case here. The step is really easy to, well, step on, and it's got just a few buttons, but there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. There are 3 different ways you can start recording a loop with this. You can start having it record as soon as you hit the pedal, which means you need to be right on, and I've been humbled by how much I thought I was on, and then hearing myself when it loops and realizing, nah, I wasn't quite there. The other way is to have it start to record as soon as you start playing, which I found a very useful feature. And the third way is to have it count in, sort of 1, 2, sol, re, boom. And that's very nice as well. It's also able to detect the tempo of what you're playing, which is actually really cool. I haven't played around with it yet because usually I'm making my own tempo, but for non-percussive instruments, it's awesome. The basic function of the RC3 is like this. You play a pattern and record it, and then you can loop that pattern and play on top of it if you want, just play around, or you can play another pattern and record that, and so on and so on. I don't know what the limit is in terms of memory, but you can record a lot of patterns simultaneously to play at once. You can also undo the last pattern you just played. Not delete it, just undo it, which is really cool if you want to take something away and listen and then bring it back. But you can also delete the pattern or delete all the patterns. It's got a metronome as well, which lets you tap the tempo you want. You can also select what kind of rhythm you want. Maybe you want R&B, maybe you want bossa nova, maybe you want rock and roll. You can also change the meter. The default is 4/4, but if you want something in 7/8, you can do that as well. It saves up to, I think, 99 different patterns in memory. There's also a USB port. You can have this talk to your computer and have loops going in and out both ways. I haven't even begun to try that yet. The last thing I want to say about this, if you want the RC3 and maybe other loopers as well, I'm not sure. Remember how I said it's really important to get a good quality 1/4-inch cable? Something I did not know until I started playing with this and trying to figure out why it wouldn't work is that the RC3 uses mono 1/4-inch cables, and what I have is a stereo 1/4-inch cable. And the difference is easy to see when you look at it close up. The stereo has 2 notches and the mono has 1. Something really, really good to know after spending a lot of time figuring out why isn't it working. So now you know. And this may apply to other hardware as well. It's really good to read the manuals. And there you have it, an assorted collection of equipment that you can use with the TAIKO-1 to make your experience better. I was not paid, this is not sponsored, this is just equipment that I've collected that I find useful. Some of this is invaluable and I would not enjoy using a TAIKO-1 without, and some of it is optional. It's kind of for fun and things that I'm still figuring out as I play. If you have any questions about what I've shown today, or you want to know alternatives to what I have, or if you have technical questions, please reach out. I will reply even though I may not have the answers. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, let me know. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, the button's just down there. Go ahead and hit that, make my day. And until next time, keep on practicing and be well.